I started writing the lyrics to this song, and I just remember I wrote, I feel alive in a time that kills me. And that I knew I was like, I'm gonna go home, write this on the piano, and finish it because I think this is a song that I can have for myself to help me, heal and understand. I feel like I write music to understand things I don't understand.
Welcome to Tune In, Discovering Your Authentic Self. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Rachel Rivelle, and Rachel and I have known each other since she was basically probably 6 weeks old, although she probably does not remember that. Her mom and I joined a new moms group together in San Jose, California, where we just kind of did life together. We supported each other, and the kids got to play together, and they had kind of instant friends for that first 3 to 5 years of their life. And then all the kids went to different schools and went separate ways. And I have not seen her since probably right before she went to kindergarten. But I follow her mom on social media, and we've stayed in touch. And she has quite a future in front of her, and I thought she would be the perfect guest to start. My focus for 2025 is going to be all about authenticity, and I thought she would be the perfect person to start with that. So I want to introduce you to Rachel Rivelle.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I'm going to be transparent. This is take two on recording because I had a recording snafu. So she was kind enough to give me more time to be able to do this. So, why don't we start with you sharing a little bit about your childhood and kind of where you are now, and then we'll get into a little bit more details.
Yeah, so I grew up in San Jose, California. That's how we met. I was so young, I don't remember, but I kind of have little visions, flashbacks of it, especially looking at pictures. But yeah, so I grew up there. I went to an all-girls high school. It was Catholic. During COVID, so but most of it was, online. But that was rough. Like I wouldn't recommend an all-girls high school. And then I started playing my guitar and writing songs, and now I moved to Nashville for college and to pursue, being an artist and a songwriter. Um, and yeah.
How did you get into singing?
Um, well, I'd always been into singing as a kid. Um, I loved T Taylor Swift. I mean, yeah, Taylor Swift kind of started that all for me, like a lot of other people. Because I'd always just sing her songs. Um, and my dad played guitar. My mom grew up in the music industry, but I never thought it was something that I could pursue. Like I never saw myself like really being able to write songs and like express myself in that way. But when COVID happened, I started playing guitar and I taught myself on YouTube how to play guitar and piano. Um, and I just started writing and I just fell in love with it. And there was one day I started doing it and then I just never stopped. And now I'm like totally all in and yeah, it's something I can't see myself never not doing again.
You had shared a couple things with me when we recorded the first time that I wanted to point out that I thought were kind of cute and funny. Maybe you can expand on. You had said that when you first started singing, that your mom was like, or your
Oh,
family was like,
yeah.
not really
No,
sure
like
this is the right direction to go to for you.
I played softball for like 8 years ever since I was a kid, and they were like, stick to softball, honey. Like, please. Like, they have heard me at my, you know, beginning stages, and they were like, wow. But I was so determined, and I knew that I wasn't good, but I was like, I'm gonna take voice lessons and prove you all wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe I won't have the most amazing voice in the world, but I'm also gonna work on my writing skills because I love it so much. And those two together, like if you have a decent voice and grow in your writing, you'll be
Yeah, and you
fine.
had mentioned that about the writing, which is not really something that I knew that you said that and like anything, the 10,000 hour rule, the more you practice the writing, the better you get at it. And I thought that was
Yes.
interesting. Can you share a little bit more about that you shared with me last
Yeah.
time?
Well, reason I just never started writing, like I always was like, I wish I could do that, but I can't because I just assumed that it was something you had or you didn't.
Right.
And it was just like, yeah, I was like, it's not in my blood. I can't do it. But I realized I just had to start. And then the more you practice it, like it is something you practice and you learn. It's like any other, sport or job, like anything you do for like over a certain period of time, you get better at. Um, and so I learned that and I was like, wait, I can do this. Like I love this and I'm capable of being good at this. So,
Yeah, and I think what drew me to you is the vulnerability that you have in your music. And I'm guessing that you combined you decided, and at some point, maybe, I don't know, maybe you felt like you just had to be open about what was going on, and we'll get into that next, but what was going on in your life in terms of your struggles, and being able to pair the practice of writing with the vulnerability of the emotions and the difficulties that you were going through to be successful.
right. And for the longest time when I was like starting out, I was like, I need to write things that people like. Like I need to like I was always looking up the top songs on, you know, today and whatever to see what people were listening to and what people were liked, and then I would try to write to that. But then I realized like I wasn't being myself. Like I was like, I need to find what's different about me
Yeah.
because that's all I'm gonna have. Like at the end of the day, like so many people have a good voice and so many people are good at writing. But it was so important for me to find what was gonna make me different and stand out. And I do think, and I say this when I perform, like I take pride in being so real because I feel like there's a lot of people who are, high in the music industry, but they're not being themselves. And that's like totally fine. But for me, I was like, I need to find a way to, I need to share my story because no one else has my point of view. And for me to kind of step into it, if I were to just like, write I think what other people want to hear, I was going to have a less chance of going anywhere, I felt like, because I would just be the same. It'd be, and so many people are trying to do that. So yeah, being real as an artist is one of my top three like big things that I try to brand myself as and just yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
and
so
I mean, as you're saying that, I kind of liken it to a relationship, right? You meet somebody, you're in that dating and honeymoon phase, and you put your best foot forward. I do a lot of relationship coaching and work on myself in my relationship, and you put your best foot forward, but you can only do that for so long before
right.
your wounds come out and your baggage comes out because it's life, and so you can continue to sing about something that you don't have a heart for, but
Yeah.
when the going gets tough, you're not going to be able to sustain that. Whereas you can share what is hard in your life and make that music and have that. And that's what people are going to like. There's no doubt in my mind that people are going to grow to see that in you, and especially young women. And you be able to tell them it's okay to share their story and share their struggles, and that's what actually makes you successful. And success is a term for me. Success is fulfillment. Success is not monetary. Success is not how many friends you have or how many likes you have or what even house or car. It's the fulfillment that you have in life, right? And so
Right.
for you, that's what it's going to do, and you're going to attract that crowd, and it's just going to make you more and more fulfilled in life being able to do that.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. It's my why of why I do things to see that I help, through my words and being real. And that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So that leads me to, so the first song I ever heard of Rachel's was Vitamin D, and it struck me. I had a little bit of body image stuff growing up, but I'll let her explain a little bit more about the song, and I'll link it in this episode so that you can listen to it and all of her music because her album just came out. I think it's 2 weeks ago now.
yeah, about 2 weeks,
About
almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, almost 2 weeks ago.
Please.
But yeah, this was the first song I found out I didn't know. It was the first song I listened to, and she told me it was the first song that she ever wrote. So, will you let us know how you wrote that song and why you wrote that song?
Yes. So I was in my junior year of high school. It was the summer after my junior year. And I went to go visit friends in Boston. And I just remember before I left, m my mom was worried. I hadn't been, you know, I honestly had never been like on a plane, like going so far alone by myself to somewhere, to visit, like go across the country. Um, and she really didn't want me to go because of, I was struggling with anorexia during that time. And so she was worried because she saw how much my body was kind of, falling apart, and I was just weak and pale and tired all the time. And it was yeah, so the it was just a rough year. And so she was like, I don't really want you to go. Um, but I was like, I really want to go. Like, I think I need this for my mind, and like maybe it'll be more healing than we think. So she let me go, and I just remember there was one day I went down. We were by the coast, and I went down and I walked there by myself, and I sat on this like rock. There were rock stairs, and I was the only one. Like it was so nice. Like I'll remember it forever. And I was writing in my journal, and I started writing the lyrics to this song, and I just remember um, I wrote, "I feel alive in a time that kills me," and that I knew I was like, I'm gonna go home, write this on the piano, and finish it, because I think this is um, a song that I can have for myself to help me, heal and understand um, what's going on. And I feel like I write music to understand things I don't understand.
It's a way for you to
And
process your emotions.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so that was the first song that I wrote for this album. I never thought I would put it out because for a long time I was so like I hid it. Oh my gosh, I all through high school, and I think honestly that made it 10 times worse, was hiding the fact that I was so mentally unstable and struggling. Um, but so were all my friends. And that's why I feel like I hid it, so I wrote about it, and I, kind of had it for myself. Never thought I would put it out, but, like 3 years obviously passed, and I'm recording this record, and I was like, this fits the brand. This is me. This can help people, like, because I know it helped me. So I finally put it out, and I've had crazy feedback on like I've cried to these lyrics, I've read these lyrics and relate. Like there's girls who are my age, and then there's, you know, my I just remember my trainer who I had for softball, like she was like she's 45. She was like, I this is exactly how I feel. Like still, like it's the range, like there's so many people struggling with it. And I finally just realized like I'd be selfish if I didn't, you know, relate and share and like yeah, put that story out, because the amount of people who've related to it that I never thought would is crazy.
Yeah, I think we talked about that too, like the vulnerability piece. Like once you put that out there, that's actually when you start healing. And we think it's the opposite. We think we have to internalize it. And you and I talked about your mom and I, our generation. That's what all we knew because we didn't know any better. But the younger generations are so much better about it, just understanding that once you are vulnerable with somebody, and you have to be selective about who you're vulnerable with, right? You can't just, it has to be somebody that you feel safe with.
Yeah.
And I can count on one hand those type of people in my life, and I really try to keep it that way because if I'm not sure the feedback I'm going to be getting, and if it's not in alignment with who I am, then I'm not going to share it. But once you
Right.
become vulnerable and you share that with somebody, that's really when the healing, because then they're like, oh, I can share with them too. And that's when intimacy develops. I mean, it doesn't have to be a, intimate relationship. It could be a friendship too. That's like that. I mean, even this discussion, like you sharing your heart with me and me sharing mine with you is a way to develop connectedness. And
Right.
and you're going to have that. I can feel it with, I mean, I'm hoping it's not just, and I'm guessing it's not just going to be with young women. It's going to be probably middle-aged women too that didn't think it was safe to talk about that. And they're still struggling in their 40s and 50s and 60s, and it's turned into other addictions because they didn't deal with their body image issues.
Yes. No, I like you're so right. And that's already like there's been, you know, moms and people who have already been like, this is exactly what I went through. And I never talked about it. So, yeah, I totally.
So, what, knowing what you know now and going through what you went through, what would you want to tell other young girls, teenagers, young women, really anybody? It could be, it doesn't have to necessarily be women, it could be men too, but anyone struggling with body image issues.
Yeah, I think um taking it day by day when you're in a headspace like that, I think honoring your body is so important. Like understanding that you only have you and like you're the only one who's going to take care of yourself. And if that's just like one thing a day, whether that's taking a walk or, hydrating yourself, like just asking yourself, how did I honor my body today is so important because once you like keep doing that and you're consistent with it, you kind of got to fake it till you make it, but like it'll be something you adapt into your life and then you'll start to love to take care of yourself
Yeah,
and
loving yourself, right? I mean, it just comes down to that, and all the things that happen in our life that cause us not to. Like you shared with me that there was some bullying, right, that happened to you when you were younger that might have caused some of this body image thing. Is that correct?
yes, and I mean, I've had this and I remember the fourth grade, like I started struggling then and I've relapsed and I've been through recovery, I've been through therapy, I've been through like I've been through every eating disorder you could possibly think of and I body dysmorphia, like I have can relate to people who have been through terrible self body image and also just really dark headspaces when it comes to um, how you view yourself. So, yeah, I think it's just so important to kind of step back and realize from a bigger point of view, like it's so important because also there's so many people around you who you're so important to that to watch, you lose yourself and hate yourself so much is hard for a ton of other people. So it's like there's things that your best friend or your sister or your mom or your dad would never say to you, so it's not worth it to say that to yourself.
Yeah, I always say like treat your body the way like if you were borrowing somebody else's. So like
Yes.
if I was borrowing your body, I would have never done the things I did to, like I over exercised when I was in my teens, 20s, even a little bit into my 30s. I would if I was borrowing your body, Rachel, I would never do that to you. But why is it okay that I do that to myself?
Exactly. That's like that is such a good mindset to have because it keeps you accountable for how you treat yourself. Yeah.
All right, last question. You ready? What are your dreams and aspirations?
Um, I want to get signed to a record deal. I want a record deal. And I'm hoping that that somehow plays out in the next 2 to 3 years. And I just want to write in a room with um there's some specific people I have who I would be honored to write with, so that would be really cool. And then I'm hoping to go on tour with like a bigger artist and open for them.
Mm.
And then like long term, I'm hoping a headline someday. Like that would be amazing. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Just
You're
stay.
you, you're amazing. I can just feel it from you. I know that this is just the beginning for you. You're stay true to who you are because that is going to be your path and that's going to be what makes you succeed in life. And it is just such a full circle moment to be able to have this conversation with you. And thank you so much for taking the time and doing it again with me and
Of
having
course.
patience and being my first video interview. So it's very exciting. And I hope we can stay in touch.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Best of luck to you, girl.
Thank you.